Family mediation is there to help parents who are separating or living apart. The process of mediation will have been explained to each parent. Once the parents have decided that mediation is a possible option for them, then they will be given an appointment to meet with a mediator.
Our conversations here are confidential. They stay within family mediation. My job, quite simply, is to help you to have the conversation that you want to have about Rosie and Aidan. So whatever we talk about, I'll always be going from one side to the other to get both points of view. What are the things that you want to talk about this morning? Who would like to start? Kate?
I don't think he's ever turned up at 10 o'clock in the morning, ever. And twice he hasn't arrived at all. Then I gave him a row, so he appeared late for a few weeks.
The first time that she's talking about, I did turn up, but I turned up late. I admit I turned up late, but they were gone from the house by that point. So there's nothing I can do about that. But the second time, I overran on something that I was doing, and I wasn't able to make it. I did try to call. There was no answer at the house.
There is a need to make some negotiation here for the children's sake.
Children's needs and views are central to the mediation process. The mediator will encourage parents to think about their children's needs and to think about the situation from the children's point of view.
So the contact that was supposed to happen didn't happen in a smooth way, and as a result it's broken down. That's what you're telling me.
The last time I saw my children, I was late half an hour, and half an hour is justification in her mind to stop me seeing the children.
Say we're planning to do a weekend contact again. What would the routine be for you and the children?
Depends on what we do and where we go. On a Saturday, if we go out, say, go out to the zoo, I will treat them. I'll treat them to chips or whatever, chips, a burger.
Seriously,
or whatever.
honestly.
It's once a week, and they get a treat.
Every weekend, I'm sorry, every weekend.
On a Sunday, I cook for them. It's a nice hot day. We'll have a salad together.
That's an absolute lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
Okay, all right.
Absolute rubbish.
Okay.
Very often, if there is no consensus, we would then have to resort to court. That creates a huge amount of expense for clients, a huge amount of trauma, and most importantly, a huge amount of trauma for the children. And very often, I think, in litigations, children are actually lost sight of, albeit that that's what the parents are arguing over.
He's got his own place now, he's got his own flat, and I don't know, I haven't seen inside it, so I don't know what it looks like, I don't know what they've got, I don't know what their beds look like, I don't know. There's a new girlfriend, so it's her stuff in the house. Is there photos of her in the house? Is there her stuff in the bathroom? I have no idea. Does she live there, and does she move out for a weekend, or when is she there?
Okay.
And I know they haven't met. I know they haven't met her, and they're not going to meet her for. Well, they're just not going to meet her actually.
The decision that I have made is no, they haven't met her,
Right.
Because.
But they
it's
know
not
about
right
her.
yet. They're not quite ready to realise that I've moved on from their mum, and I know that I'm not as immature as you seem to think I am. I know that.
Okay. So it's obviously something on the horizon
that they're aware of. They know.
At some point, you're both going to have to talk about, first of all, to each other, so that you can talk to your children about it. Would that be right?
Children consider themselves to be half mum and half dad. And if mum is criticising dad or dad is criticising mum, then they feel hurt themselves. So one of the things in mediation is that parents can come to appreciate that from the children's point of view, it's important to talk positively about the other parent.
What I'm going to propose to you is that we meet next week.
Sorry to interrupt, but are we able to meet again tomorrow?
Not tomorrow, Matt. What I was going to suggest is that our next meeting should be in a week's time.
Which covers this weekend, which
Yes.
means this weekend I'm not going to see my children.
What we regard this session as is the homework or the groundwork that we do for making contact happen. And in fact, next week's session, the agenda would be to plan the contact weekend. What you've done today, it might not seem very much because it might feel very negative to you, but in fact you have looked at what are real concerns to you both, and you've named them about you want the contact to happen again. Both of you have both said that. You've both talked about how the children are anxious for it to happen again. In order for contact to happen and not only to happen once, Matt, but to continue to happen. The communication between you two as parents is vital. You can't continue to argue because that is what exposes children to upset. It's not the fact that you've split apart that hurts the children so much as the fact that if you continue the warfare with each other. Now, I always hold in my mind a kind of a mental picture of the children here, and over them is an umbrella or like a rainbow that protects them. And that rainbow is the communication between mum and dad. And if your children know that you're meeting and that you're talking about them, they'll feel safe. But if that rainbow's not there above their heads, if mum and dad don't talk to each other, the children, even if it's nothing said, they feel it. They feel the hostility, they feel the frostiness. Next week's agenda, quite simply, is let's get the show on the road. Let's plan the next weekend, the Saturday to Sunday, and let's plan the time. Let each other know in general what you're going to do, and then we'll make it happen. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that fair with you, Kate?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
If at all possible, could you phone before you leave the house? Just phone to say you're on your way, so that we know that you're definitely on your way. Then that would help.
So that gives you the reassurance that the day is happening.
It gives them the
And the
reassurance
children-
that he's
okay.
actually coming. Then
And the
yes.
children will be excited then to see their dad.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, fine. Are you okay with that, Matt?
Fine, I can do
So-
that, that's fine.
What's next that needs to be shared between you as planning?
I've got an idea of what I'd like to do with them, yeah.
Okay, and do you want to share it with us here so that we...
Yeah, that's fine,
Kate, no
fine, absolutely. What I was planning on doing, I've checked the weather, the weather's looking good at the weekend. I was planning on taking them over to North Berwick. There's a lovely little beach area down there, camp overnight, and then come back to my house the next day and cook them some dinner.
You'll probably get angry, but I want it every 2 weekends that they are with Matt.
That would become 2 days in 14 that I would see them.
I know.
Sorry, Mike, say that again. That would be 2...
2 days in 14 that I'm
Right,
seeing them.
okay.
That doesn't seem in any way sort of unbalanced.
We at the moment we don't have any arrangements for holidays or for anything, for birthdays, for anything like that at all. So I don't know if can holidays be, can you have them for a week or a couple of weeks at a
Okay,
time? Can
right.
we do it a different way?
I don't-
At the moment you're getting them every weekend, I'm getting the rubbish during the week.
Well, that's a very, very big agenda that you've put on there, Kate, and all of them are very important. So we're going to have to look at that. But what it's saying really is that the whole situation needs to be looked at now because this is new.
What if I pick them up from school on a Friday and I have them for overnight, over 2 nights on the weekend that I see them, and then every other weekend you have them?
Could try it, I suppose. Could try it.
Okay. Is that your suggestion?
Yes.
The weekend after would be...
This Saturday you've got them. The weekend after my weekend, and we can start the routine then of having Dad for a weekend and me for a weekend.
Okay.
Then.
So, Matt, when you come back with the children from the contact weekend, I was suggesting that you don't have a long conversation, the two of you, because it's likely to become an argument, given the past history. Therefore, we shouldn't tempt fate.
Historically, we talk, but not in a very pleasant way, but we try not to do it right in front of the kids. But obviously, they're going to pick up on it, and it's not very pleasant.
So I'm suggesting to you that if you can do that quite simply and quite shortly, and then leave your communication to afterwards, whether it's by email or text or a phone call. I don't know how you intend to do that yet, but at the handover, just keep it short. Is that okay? You see the benefit for the children?
Yes.
It might seem a small thing, but if the children see you looking after them and handing them over and it's peaceful, they'll sleep peacefully in their beds. It's as literal as that. because they know that mum and dad are doing things and they're not arguing anymore like they used to. Okay? You've planned the weekend, you've planned the times, you've planned the phone calls. It should go smoothly, hopefully. And you've agreed that at the handovers it will be short and sweet and to the point, in an atmosphere that the children can appreciate.
Parents can make really good progress on some issues, but there may be other issues that they want to discuss at a later date. If that is the case, then further appointments can be made at times to suit them both.
Time you've had the first weekend of contact, and then you've had a week with you, and then the fortnightly contact with you, Matt.
Yeah, 2 nights.
Okay. How did it go? How did the first weekend go?
We had a lovely day, and then we camped overnight, and the kids loved it.
And the handover itself?
It was okay. It was
Okay.
quite hard, but it was okay. Because that's the first time they'd been away for quite a while.
Okay.
Well, for the 7 weeks before that, so it was okay.
I know that you haven't been talking to each other over the last few weeks when things were bad, and we've kept handovers to a minimum simple thing, so there's no friction there. Do you appreciate that you actually do need to talk to each other a little bit? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, we've only got anywhere through being in this room and talking to each other, so yeah.
Okay. You need time to think about that, and you have got the ability to move positions. So
Can we come back then? I mean, we can come back if we get stuck.
You can. The door is always open here.
Family mediation is an option for people to come back to at a later stage if the situation with the children has changed. Perhaps there's a new partner or a new baby comes along, conflict might arise, it might become more difficult for them to communicate, and come back to mediation and again talk about the issues and talk about the difficulties that they're facing.
Well, I think we can sum up by saying that you've achieved quite a lot, and you're very different people from the people who came in here 2 sessions ago.
Having reached an agreement, some parents think that lawyers or the courts then have to be involved. That actually is not the case.
There's no requirement for formal agreement at all, either through the courts or by way of lawyers' agreement. And in fact, the courts are actually very happy that clients can work things out themselves. All the court really has to regard to is that the children are well housed, they're looked after, and the parents both have a role in the children's upbringing. If the court actually sees that, the court's delighted and will ask no further questions in relation to children.
So I think you've done a very, very good job, and I think your 2 children, Rosie and Aidan, must be a lot happier now
Well,
than they were.
One's less grumpy and the other's less angry.
Right. Well, that's a very, very, that's a great result.
Thank you.